Hey everyone, this is Chris Keys for Premier Guitar. Today I'm at Marathon Music Works with Loathe, Erik of Loathe. Erik, how you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Really good, man. This is a big pleasure of mine. This is a fun circumstance where everyone hears about everything first on the internet, but this was a situation where I would go to shows and people were like, oh, did you see Loathe? And I was like, no, Chevelle was in town when we did the drum rundown. I had several friends. One I want to call out, Daniel Colombo. He let me know that this is a band I need to check out. Word of mouth still works and prevails. I heard about you guys, been a fan ever since.
Amazing.
And I'm really pleasured to kind of squeeze this in real quick. We rocked out with Knocked Loose earlier. Check that out with Perry and Jared doing the rundowns with the guitar and drums. Now we're talking to you. Let's dive right into it. Baritone guitars, but not like the 7-string, 8-string pointy things.
No, this is my Gretsch baritone, supplied to me by Tim. Shout out Tim at Gretsch and Fender. This is kind of what I've been using for the past, I think, maybe 4 years.
Okay.
It's been kind of like my go-to guitar for anything Loathe related when it comes to playing, and as of recently writing as well when we do this kind of like lower tune stuff. It's great, man. It's kind of like one of the 2 guitars that I'm known to play at the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's awesome.
How did you get into these instruments? Because was it a conscious decision not to go to an ESP 8-string?
Yes, yeah, definitely. We
aesthetically.
I think aesthetically, and also just the tones are quite very different. So
yeah.
we wanted to have a bit more of like a British rock kind of sound pushed further into the world of like extreme metal influence when we write and stuff. And this is, I think it fits the bill aesthetically as well as how it sounds. It doesn't sound too metallic and too like sharp,
Yeah.
So. We didn't want to do anything like 7-stringy or anything pointy, just because it's just not the vibe really for us. We don't really I don't like the way they look. I think the rest of the guys.
Currently you're billed with Knocked Loose.
Yeah.
Who are sweet men, but
pointy,
yeah, pointy and heavy.
Listen, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not cool for other people, but just for me, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not what I really like to see. Or, I mean, I feel like they play really well, of course, but it's not. For the band that we are and what we're trying to do, it's not the right thing. But yeah, it was actually our drummer, Sean. I was using a 7-string at one point. I think it was a Stephen Carpenter signature. And he was like, why don't you use a bass 6? The Beatles used a bass 6. And I was like, okay, cool. So I used the bass 6 for a while, and then I found the Baritone Jazz Master.
Yeah.
And started using that and used that for ages. We recorded I Let It In primarily on that guitar, and then developed a relationship with Gretsch. At this point, that guitar had kind of gone extinct. So,
yeah. Well, you kind of made it go extinct, or at least one of those iterations.
Unfortunately.
I saw what you did to it.
Yeah, mine, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you smashed it.
Yeah, I've got a backup at home. It's okay.
Also, you and other people are single-handedly. I know another one that has is Frank Iero of My Chemical Romance. You two are single-handedly jacking up the used market on those suckers because no longer being produced by Squier.
Yeah, unfortunately. I think it's a great guitar. I think Squier should maybe do something.
I feel like you should have a signature model coming out. That's to you, Squier.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who's watching this, maybe hit Squier or Fender or, hit them up and see what they think, because, I'd be appreciative. It'd be nice. Yeah.
And before we cruise through this guitar, and I know you have one more we want to talk about, you're a band that is getting everyone's attention, and then also people are trying to put you into boxes. And I want to give you the opportunity to talk about your influences, because it's everyone's trying to say like they sound like the Deftones or they sound like this, and it is there. But what intrigues you on guitar? What do you actually listen to that is kind of seeped into your DNA in this current state?
It's hard to really pinpoint, really, but I like when I can hear that someone's feeling what they're playing.
Yeah.
And we were talking earlier about Meshuggah as a big influence on me, specifically Frederick. I feel like his influence and background in kind of like jazz guitar and anything like that is really inspiring to me and very unique and interesting, especially when put into the metal zone or anything like that, because a lot of people are kind of like shredding, like all that sort of stuff. But other than that, it's like that jazz influence really brings a different flavor and characteristic to it. So I really, really enjoyed that.
Are there any other non-metal or maybe surprises that people wouldn't think? Because I know that you don't classify yourself as a metal guitarist, but as a person that dabbles in the heavier music sometimes?
I guess like the one that I always say is Thomas Erak from Fall of Troy. Yeah, we were saying before, it's the kind of like, I started to really enjoy playing guitar when I started to play Guitar Hero. And hearing FCP Remix on Guitar Hero 3, I was just like, it just blew my mind.
Was that your introduction to them?
Yeah, it was, yeah. And then kind of like went over the whole discography and just fell in love with it and how chaotic and crazy they were.
Yeah.
And then,
but also melodic.
Yes, yeah. See, I think the tendencies that they have when it comes to like the rock and roll influence and also the R&B influence and stuff that he does when it comes to the chords and everything like that, it's really inspiring to me, especially you know, as I'm developing as a guitarist and a musician when I'm younger. He's like huge influence on me, yeah. And I'm glad to call him a friend now. Shout out Tom, man, legend.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
Now, and last we talked about, we were shifting through this conversation earlier, is that David Gilmour, Pink Floyd, another musical influence in terms of just pushing boundaries and doing things for themselves, not necessarily the greater audience.
Yeah, definitely. Pink Floyd are definitely one of those bands. That's a kind of recent discovery for me. I feel like every musician gets to a point where it's like, Pink Floyd clicks randomly.
I'm surprised they don't make you listen to Pink Floyd or be a Pink Floyd fan before leaving the country. I feel like that's the rite of passage for them.
Yeah, I guess, I guess, yeah.
Just like everyone here has to listen to Metallica and No Master Puppets before we can leave.
Yeah.